All right. Welcome everybody to Present the Message. We're going to learn all about presenting. Last week we set up a class, right? We invited people to the class, and now we're presenting the message, and we're talking about the best way to do that. So there's a couple of different ways that you can present, and a lot of it depends on your message itself. So you are either most likely doing a product presentation or a business presentation. So whatever you choose to do, make sure you're doing what works best for you. So I have done classes anywhere from parks to restaurants to my own home. So you can kind of do it where your people are. It depends on a little bit upon the people that you're presenting to and what your message is. So oh, yes, and I've also done it on webinar. I've done them on phone calls. So you can do classes in many, many different ways. So how to set up a class. So we talked about with the inviting section about how to best invite people as far as letting them know what to expect, right? So when you invite, you're going to be telling people, inviting them to the class and letting them know, the class is kind of let them know about how long it's going to be, taking the pressure off as far as letting them know you don't have to purchase anything, but if you like what you hear, then I can help you order, right? And you're going to do the same thing when it comes to an essential oil presentation, whether you're doing a one-on-one, a call, a webinar, even if you, like I do classes on my website. I have classes right on my website, and you just read through them. But the very last section of the class is, hey, I want to set up a call or an online meeting with you, and it's just the same way as you would normally invite, but it's basically setting yourself up for the presentation. And so when you do a product presentation, when you first get up in front of somebody, or when you're first beginning, just let them know this is going to be 30 to 40 minutes long, depending on if you've what you've shared with them before. If it's a one-on-one, it's going to be less time than if you're doing a class. And so if you're doing a one-on-one, it might just be 30 minutes. Your part will take 30 minutes. If it's going to be a class, it might be 40 to 50 minutes, depending on the questions that you have and that type of thing. So just let them know right up front. My part is going to take 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and I'm going to be, helping you understand essential oils. And if you don't have to purchase if you don't want to, but if you like what you hear, then I can help you order at the end of this class. Teresa Harding actually has a really, really great webinar. I basically close using Teresa Harding's How to Close a Class. But it's in the beginning, the setting up portion is very important. I like to hand out a price sheet, just the price sheet and the class materials. And I let people know as you're going through, as we're talking and we're going through this class, you're going to be hearing a lot about different essential oils. Well, I want you to find the oil on this price sheet, and I want you to circle it or put a smiley face or star by it so that you know what oils that you're interested in, and then we can talk more about them afterwards. And I can help you figure out the kit that you need, or the oils that, we can custom make a kit that's going to work the best for you. And so I set that up right in the beginning so that people know what to expect, and so they can see the prices of the different oils, and they can see that there's a wholesale price and a retail price. And so I just lay that out right up front, that this is what we're doing. So I don't give them any of the kits right up front. I just give them the price sheet and the class material. And then, custom make, who's your audience? When you're in this class, I want you to think about, or the one-on-one, who's your audience? Is it a mother? Is it a medical professional? Is it a teacher? And then as you talk about the oils, you're going to, maybe you have all three, which is totally fine. You're going to give a couple examples instead of just one example about each of the oils. You might take, if it's a one-on-one, you might take just like 1 minute on each oil. If you're in a class, you might take 2 minutes on each oil and give a couple of different examples depending on who your audience is. So, sorry, I'm gonna move really quick. When you live in 300 square feet, sometimes you have to move so that other people can have some space too. So, all right. Anyway, and I'm living proof that you can do this business from anywhere, doing whatever. Okay, so when you're, all right, so as you're doing the class, some of the examples, you know, when it comes to talking about the oils, I'm gonna see if I can bring this down without messing it up. Okay, so when you're talking about the oils, you're gonna take a few minutes and tell your story. And when you tell your story, like I have several stories that I like to share about oils. My own personal story is very powerful, but I find that some people have a hard time relating to my story. So there's a couple of, you know, so kind of think about what's going to be the most relatable to the people that you're talking to. And a lot of times I teach moms, right? And so I will tell them about how the oils helped my little boy when I first started get better, when he was, you know, helped to boost his immune system and helped with the pain that he was experiencing, the discomfort that he was feeling with his ears, and helped strengthen his respiratory system. And so that's something that almost everybody has experienced and that they can get on board with. So make connections, tell your story in the first few minutes after you've, you know, after you set your intentions for the class. Oh, actually, you know, you can kind of do either way. This one says tell your story first and then state your intention. I usually state my intention before my story, honestly, because then I feel like there's more flow in the class. I can go straight from my story to why essential oils, because in my story, I do talk about, you know, why I use essential oils. So, and then you're going to take a few minutes, you're going to talk about health priorities. A lot of times I like to ask people right up front to write down what are their top goals or health priorities. You know, what are some things that you would like to use essential oils for? And then we talk about those a little bit. And then you're going to take 10 to 20 minutes to actually teach about essential oils and the lifelong vitality. So lifelong vitality is amazing, and I love talking about the lifelong vitality, and it's very important. People will love the essential oils. The lifelong vitality is a great basis to help people have a good, you know, good health, just a good base of good health. And then the essential oils can help with symptoms. And oh gosh, I just say that? They can help support the different functions of your body and the different systems of your body. So after you've talked about the EOs, like I said, you're going to take, you know, 1 to 2 minutes on every essential oil, and then probably 2 to 3 minutes on the lifelong vitality. And then you're going to take another 9 or 10 minutes, and you're going to explain about membership options and the next steps. And you're going to give them the kit options. When it comes to kits, so I'm just going to ask a hypothetical question. Obviously, you're not going to answer me, but when somebody handed you a kit sheet, did anybody kind of freak out a little bit? I know. Well, when I first started, guess what? There was only 3 kits. And so it was actually a really easy choice for me to make, because I said, oh, you know, do I want this little kit that, you know, looks like there's hardly any oils and the frankincense is really small, or do I want the big kit that has, you know, all of the oils that they had, and then the big frankincense? I really needed the frankincense. And so for me, I was like, you know what? I have a sick little boy, and I'm going to get that big kit. And so I highly recommend that when it comes to explaining the kits to people, don't explain all of them. Find 2 kits that you're really passionate about and share those 2 kits. So the 2 kits that I like to share the $250 Home Essential Kit, and I like to share the Natural Solutions Kit. I started off with the equivalent of the Natural Solutions Kit when I first started. The kit that I purchased was about $550. It had more. We didn't have supplements back then. Imagine that. There was just oils, and so It just had almost every single oil. It didn't have all of them, but it had most of them. I mean, it had every oil that I needed for my health and for the health of my family. And so I was really excited about that. And that's the kit that I purchased. And now they have like all these benefits to big kit, right? Like if you do a big kit and $100 LRP, then you get $100 in free oils. They didn't have that when I was first starting out. I just wanted that, to have more at my fingertips to be able to use for my family. And then the Home Essentials kit is the other kit that I like to explain, because basically you're getting 3 times as many oils as you would in the Family Physician kit, plus a diffuser for less than twice the price. So for me, that's a no-brainer. I'm thinking you're getting 3 times as much oil in a diffuser. I really have a hard time selling Family Physician kits because it's just not that good of a deal. I mean, it's a good deal, but it's not nearly as good as the other 2 kits. And so those are the 2 kits that I usually share, but it depends on your comfort level and exactly what it is that you want to share. So those are the 2 I usually share. I do bring up the Family Physician kit just to talk about the difference between that and the Home Essential kit and why the Home Essential kit is so much better. So, and then, at the end, you can serve refreshments and answer questions. You don't even have to serve refreshments. Sometimes I just have water with oils in them, and that's my refreshment. And you help guests involved. So that is the presentation. But your part, the actual presentation part, is only going to take 30 to 45 minutes. So keep it short and sweet, and that'll give, that's honoring your time and it's honoring other people's time. Another thing is just to start on time, and that's very, very helpful. And also dress. This is actually something that I struggled with in the very beginning, is just dressing instead of in fact, I remember Teresa Harding had to have a heart-to-heart with me because I'm a casual person, and so I wear casual clothes, and I had to change a little bit. I had to dress for success instead of just in my regular, what I was comfortable in. So anyway, look nice, and you'll feel more confident in yourself is what I'm trying to say. And utilize the oils on yourself. You put some balance. Some of my favorite oils before presenting are balanced to help me feel grounded and to instill confidence. So that's my favorite oil to use before a class or to diffuse. Okay, so that's a product presentation. So when it comes to business, the business presentations that I've been doing, I will start and I will talk about the business or using the build guide. And I'll do that for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then I do a launch intro. So the very first, I don't go into the launch training, but I give an introduction of it. And then all of these launch trainings are going to be up on my website and on Jen's website. And then, we give them a brief intro and then point them to the website and say, go ahead and start on the launch training. I gave you a brief overview of it. Now go ahead and launch your business. So, let's see. So the best, all right. So the where of the business, you can do business launch train. You can do the business overviews. You can do them online. You can do them at a chiropractic office or a professional office, or you can gather at a coffee shop or anything like that. You can have it at your own home. So make sure to focus on the needs of your attendees. Know and share how the opportunity can work for them. And honestly, when I do a product class, I usually take a few minutes. Sometimes when I'm telling my story, because a part of my story is the business. And so I'll talk about, I'll give a little intro and say, hey, you know what, there's a business opportunity that's absolutely amazing. And so I'm giving, most of 90% of my product presentation is the oil, probably 95%. And then just a little bit is about the business and how it can help and benefit people. And so anyway, when you do your business presentation itself, you're going to tell your business story. And your business story is probably going to be a little bit different than your product story. It might mesh in a little bit. And then you're going to set your intention, that you want to help people understand how they can build residual income and what residual income even means. Like, what is that? Some people don't have any clue what it is. Jen, is there any specific thing that you do in the very beginning of your business meetings? Sometimes it's hard to make them feel comfortable in a business meeting. What are some things that you do to help people feel comfortable or like they really want to learn about this?
So I usually just will in my class, and then I will just say, one thing I want to share with you guys before I end tonight is that, this is what we do for our living with our family, and it's been a really great living for us. And we're able to travel the world and do a lot of really fun things and just teach people about doTERRA. So if that's something that interests you, I'd love to chat more with you about it. If you're feeling like, oh man, I wish I could make 500 more bucks every month, or really want a career change, we should definitely chat, because I think you'd be pleasantly surprised at how amazing doTERRA is as a business opportunity. And then, sometimes I will add in a little couple pieces here or there, but really I like to get them to an appointment to talk more about the business, where we can, I can hear what their needs are.
Very good. Yeah, and it's interesting. In fact, I want all of you who are listening to this, I want you to think about for a second, how many people do you know, or do you think you know, that pray daily for more money or for more time with their family? And I bet if you think about that question, probably most of the people that you know are praying for one of those two things, or maybe even both. And you are an answer to their prayers. And so when it comes to the business and doing a business presentation, inviting somebody, just like Jen said, inviting somebody to listen to the business, whether it's a one-on-one or whether it's a group, think about that. Think about how your life would be different if you did not have doTERRA as a business. And that's something that I think about often. I think about, how my life would be if I didn't have this business, and I'm very grateful for it. So those are things that I think about even before I enter a business meeting. I before I even state my intention with them, I think about what my intention is and how my life would be different if I didn't have this business, because then I'm going to be very passionate when I talk about the business. And if you're not confident when you talk about the business, then people will not really tune in. But if you're very confident and you're very passionate about it, even if you're not super successful yet, if you have that level of confidence and then people will be drawn to you, and they will be excited about this business opportunity. So as you can see, here's just a little outline of how you can use your time talking about the business. And this just follows the build guide very carefully. So, you can see it has the pages of the build guide right on it. And then at the end, you can do a Q&A. And like I said, at the end, I actually like to do a little introduction to the Launch Your Business and get people excited about about launching their business and doing the Launch Your Business training, and then point them in that direction. So let's see. Oh, yes. And then and bring this up after your class, booking classes from classes is very, very important. So, and asking for referrals too. So what I like to do, I have a little basket, and it has all of my free product of the month oils in it. So, when you do 125 PV before the 15th of the month, you will get a free oil or a free product from doTERRA that's, worth anywhere from $10 to $15. And so I take that free product of the month and I put it in this little basket, and that's what I give for my prizes. Or, if that's how I'll tell people. I'll be like, if you purchase from me today, or if you book a class with me today or with whoever I'm teaching the class for, then you'll be able to pick something out of my little basket. And so a lot of people are like, okay, and so we show them dates, and they put their name by that date, and then they can choose something from my basket. Or if there's a specific oil that they want that's in my basket, I just, they don't have to sit there and like, hey, you just have to choose. I'll let them look through the oils, and they can choose an oil that they really want if they enroll, or if they book a class, for me to either teach, or for the person that I'm teaching a class for them to teach. And that seems to work really well. Another thing that I'll do is I'll get like a 6-pack of the intro kits, and I'll use those too, because they're fairly, they're under $20 if you get them in a 6-pack, and there's 3 oils in them, and people get really excited about that. So, or if you want, you could even break up that little pack and have the, lemon, lavender, and peppermint. If you don't have enough little oils in a bag or a basket or something, you can get a kit and you can just break the oils up and put them in there. And that's a cheap way as well to offer, maybe the small oils or something if people will enroll or if they'll host a class. Also, the keychains are awesome too, right? You just give them the little keychain that doTERRA has with the empty vials, and then when they purchase their kit, they'll have this cute little keychain that they can carry around with them, and they can fill it up with the oils that they get from their kit. So those are great booking incentives and great enrollment incentives. So, and this, I love the verbiage here at the bottom. It says, likely you've thought of people you know who would benefit from this same experience. If you'd like to host your own gathering, see one of us after. If you book tonight, you can take home this keychain or whatever oil that you have that is your booking incentive. That's great verbiage to use. And then if you are talking to somebody one-on-one, maybe they're not brave enough to say, well, yeah, I'll host it or whatever. But when you're talking to people one-on-one and helping them decide what oil they want, a lot of times people say, oh, my sister really could benefit from this lavender, different things like that. And I'll say, well, you know what, why don't we set up an appointment with your sister and we can talk to her more about the oils or about this lavender, and what do you say? And people like to care for people that they love, and so that's a really great way. As long as you show that you're sincere and that you really care about them and their needs and their family's needs, then they will be very likely to let you into their home and teach a class, or give you the information for their loved one who may need the oils. So anyway, so that is my suggestions on classes. So Jen, is there stuff that you would like to add?
I thought that was perfect. I think keeping it simple, and then one thing is that the don't sell on the fly that you have on your website, and on mine it's the Tasha Smith Emerge training. It talks about some things that you can do at your presentation, and one thing I have learned is to really make it all about them. I used to spend a lot of time on just talking and talking and talking, and they're just listening. And now I like to give them an outline, like Cheyenne said, here's what we're going to do. I ask them, what would you like to learn more about? What do you already know? What would you like to learn more about? What are your expectations? And then I do my intro, and then I just literally make down lists of what they want to hear. So I just make it all about them. So, honestly, I don't want to say there's a wrong way to teach, because there's people that'll bore you to death or overwhelm you. Cheyenne's not one of them. Cheyenne's a great teacher, obviously. She wouldn't be doing this, but really is listening to what people need and showing them how this is a solution for what their needs are. And the only way to find out what their needs are is to stop and listen. So anyway, that's my advice.
Very good.
But I thought that was so perfect.
Well, thank you very much. So thank you all for being on today, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you.